I have never seen so many apologies in all of my days. The Nikon apologists come out of the woodworks, all that and more. Let's talk about it today on the Morning Jolt. What's up, guys? Mark back here with another video. So, here we are, day 2, and all the Nikon apologies just keep on rolling in. Okay, so reviews are slowly trickling in. Now, granted, most of the quote-unquote reviews are of the pre-production firmware. It's beta. It's beta software. So that's assuming that Nikon does, in fact, have more work to do on the firmware. Overall, I think that the Z-mount stuff is going to be a solid offering. But again, people don't like to hear truth, and that's okay. If you don't really care, like if you're brand agnostic, such as myself, you will begin to see that there are some, solid features in these cameras. I am not saying that this is a bad offering. I think that some people kind of took it that way yesterday. Like, I'm not bashing Nikon for putting out a product, okay? I think any amount of gear that is shoved onto the shelves increases not only choice, but the competition between all. So no, I'm not bashing any camera company for putting more product and more competition out there. That's not what I was bashing. The fact that I was being such a rag on Nikon yesterday was the fact that they had way too much time and they could have done things much, much better. They should have introduced some stuff that no one had ever seen before. They should have introduced something that was completely new to the market, but they didn't. The only one thing that I saw that I think is probably pretty awesome as far as video, something that has never been seen in any Nikon camera before, was like 120 frames per second, the 10-bit with the in-log. Unfortunately, you've got to use an external recorder to get that. Nikon has never really been a video camera company at all. It's always been about still images. It's never been about video. So for Nikon to actually kind of put themselves out there and actually try something new, now that's revolutionary, if only for Nikon. All right, so that being said, I'm not opposed to competition. I'm not opposed to new products hitting the market. I want that. I think all of us should want that. But some of the people that went to the Nikon events, man, I tell you what, let me just start off with the fuzzy-haired fro, okay? That guy literally took a Fuji camera. Like, if you've seen any of his Fuji stuff, he doesn't even know how to use it. I mean, literally has no friggin' clue, and basically thrashed it, okay? And then someone comments on his event video, and he go, okay, sorry, Nikon, I'm not impressed at all. I'm leaning to Fujifilm for all-around light camera and keeping my Nikon DSLRs. The fuzzy-headed fro literally just goes, lol, Fuji. Lol, Fuji? That's what you got? You Nikon fanboy? Hey, Frosif, I've got a sniff test for you. Why don't you take your nose out of Nikon's ass long enough to learn a new camera system and quit reviewing shit that you don't really know how to use? So yeah, he says Fuji, lol, or lol Fuji, doesn't really matter. Even his own users, even his own viewers were like, dude, why are you lolling at that? Why are you even doing all that? For those of you that don't know, Fuji has, if you like smaller, lighter weight glass and you don't want to ever go to full frame or you just don't want to carry around that weight, Fujifilm has the best, by far, best APS-C lens lineup on the planet. I used to be a full-frame shooter, and while I do like the slightly shallower depth of field, it's not that much different. Here's my point, is that if you don't just base your reviews on the merits of the camera, in any other world, this camera would have been amazing in 2014. But it's not 2014, it's 2018, and we expect more. We demand more because we're the ones paying you. So if you're not going to at least, meet massive amounts of market demand, we want to move forward. We don't want to just be in the middle. Okay, so no one's really all that surprised that the fuzzy-headed Frosif doesn't like Fuji. So no big deal, right? let's move on to something more interesting. So the one card slot thing on these cameras is kind of it is a big deal to a lot of people. You're going to read comments all over the internet where people say, cards, they fail all the time. Or you're going to have other ones go, dude, cards never fail. What are you worried about? The first comment's from Thomas Reed. He says, the pros and cons are so tactical and obvious with this camera. It's clear that Nikon are taking mirrorless seriously, but are marketing it at this point with a stronger focus on extending its existing customer and product base rather than rewriting it, which is a smart long-term strategy. Let me just cut in here real quick. That's what Nikon always does. It's always long-term. It's never, bam, we want to do something awesome. I'm surprised very few people see this as a strategy. As I see so far, with the exception of a few, is narrow-minded, uneducated comments like, it's not as good as Sony, blah, 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 and the one card slot issue is not an issue. Good cards do not fail. Ever. Now, the next comment, literally 2 comments down, this guy named DP Photos, or D Photos, DP, and he says, I'm a Canon guy. Since I own a number of Canon lenses, I am waiting to see what they have to offer. To be honest, Nikon had to knock it out of the park and blow Sony away. I don't think they did that. First off, I never shoot without a backup card. I've had 2 jobs lost to bad cards, so that is a requirement for me. Canon will have to have a wonderful camera, and it will have to have the best at shooting silent. If they fail, I will sell all my lenses and buy 2 Sony A9 cameras with lenses. So literally, 2 comments, 1 comment apart. One says they never fail, and the other one says he's lost, 2 jobs. So, you take that with a grain of salt. If you're willing to gamble with it only being 1 card slot, man, you be my guest. If you're not shooting anything critical, like I had to do corporate headshots a couple of weeks ago, there is no way I would have shot that without having a backup card. Period. End of story. It just would have not happened. Now, while technically you could gather everyone back up again in a few days and maybe try and reset that up. But do you know how unprofessional that looks? Do you ever want to call back? Granted, it's not like a wedding that can't ever be reproduced because of the emotional factor and the it's a once in a lifetime. Well, not in this country, it's not. Sometimes it's 3 times in your lifetime. Sometimes more. That is not professional going, I am deeply sorry, but my card failed. And I didn't have a camera that had a backup, so is there any chance we could just round everyone up and do it all over again? There's no way I would have done that. Period. End of the story. Not only is it going to be 1 card slot, but it's also going to be the XQD. And, I'm a fan of moving technology forward, but the fact of the matter is XQD is ridiculously expensive. $200 for a card? No, thank you. Nah, not interested. Seriously, I will buy SD cards. I think that they're still plenty fast for the current state of technology at this point. If the cameras ever start outpacing the data rate on the cards, fine, great. And I know some people are going to absolutely love it. They're going to be, oh yeah, this is fantastic. I love this idea. And that's great. I think that, we should push technology forward. But there's really no reason. You could have saved the money on the XQD and just went on ahead and put in 2 card slots. And I also heard the excuse that they at least gave Fuzzy-Headed Fro. They gave him saying that they didn't put 2 card slots in there because of the size. Really? It was the size you were worried about? Have you seen the size of your DSLRs? A couple of centimeters, I don't think, would have hindered this camera at all. But of course, it's Nikon. And let me just say, right here, right now, Jared's little preview, he literally spent 9 minutes defending all the things he used to shit on Sony for. That's right, for little over 9 minutes, he defended what he used to take a dump on Sony for every single day. I told you. Every single pro out there would be defending all the things. They would defend the adapter. They would just ignore it. Hey, let's just move on. It's okay. It's got 1 card slot. Let's just move on.
It's just one of those things. This is where they started. I would harp on it forever and ever, but that doesn't do us any good, so it is what it is at this point. If you don't like that, then this camera isn't for you. If you can get past that, then there's a lot of really cool features with this camera.
Oh, but no one wanted to move on back in the day when it was Sony trying to do it. I tell you right now, man, I am just sick to death with the effing hypocrites. I really am. These guys, they pretend too much. You're fake. You're fake as shit. Get real. Quit buffaloing your viewers. And if your viewers are watching and you're not going, dude, what are you even talking about right now? You took a shit on Sony every day for 5 years. And that brings me to what I was trying to discuss in my video 2 videos ago. Again, where I said that all these people were going to be defending this camera, no matter what happens, no matter what came in it, no matter how it went down, that they were going to be defending it. And these are going to be the same jackholes that are going to be buying this adapter. You just watch and see. Every pro on the market is going to be like, oh, this is revolutionary. And they will. They will. Because now it suits them. And they didn't have the foresight 5 or 6 years ago to go, yeah, that is a pretty cool feature. I mean, first of all, EVF. No one wanted an electronic viewfinder. Every single one of you pros used to go, I would never buy an EVF. I would never accept an EVF. Optical viewfinders are superior. We are the superior race. And yet here you are just all over Nikon. Man, you all are so full of crap. Next up, what were you talking about? What was it? IBIS? You didn't like IBIS? And now all of a sudden, oh, we love IBIS. We love IBIS. This is really great. 5-axis image stabilization. That's super. Literally, 2 years ago, lens stabilization is so much better. No one would ever use IBIS. No one needs IBIS. So here we are again with your bullshit hypocrisy. Welcome back. Welcome back. Nikon does something and now this is revolutionary. I literally said it. It's going to be like, oh, this is revolutionary. And now here we have it. Also, what were they saying about adapters? Oh, that native glass is the only way to go. Just get native glass. There's absolutely no way I would ever use an adapter. No one uses an adapter. Now Nikon does it. It's the best thing since sliced bread. Hey, F-mount shooters, you're all going to be able to use your lenses. Really? That's great. We can adapt our lenses. So now no one cares. Now it's just great. It's awesome. And as a final point, can we just stop, praising camera companies for making the cameras weatherproof or rainproof or spray resistant? I mean, honestly, my phone is weatherproof, rain resistant, spray resistant. That's not a feature. That should be standard. These cameras are going everywhere. Even phones. I mean, that's not a feature. Quit touting it as like some awesome, amazing, and revolutionary. This thing has as good weather sealing as the D850. Great. It should. It's a camera. It goes outside. It might get water on it. It needs the weather to get the golden hour. It might rain. That's not a feature. That should be standard. So last but not least, I hopped on over there at DP Review. Not DP Review. I think it was Petapixel and was reading the comments in the announcement. And I don't know who this guy is, but I'll put it up here on the screen. He says, they're only getting started and they look like smaller versions of the D750 and the D850. This will help them get their foot in the door. Buy time to develop lenses and new cameras to really take on the Sony, Fuji, and competition. This right here has been my whole point, okay? Most of us have been waiting for Nikon to do something, to put something amazing, something leapfrogging into the next generation in one of these kinds of cameras. Not get their foot in the door, not buy them time to develop some lenses, do something on their own for the love of God. But, that's what we get. That's what you get. That's what I used to get. But now I'm using Fuji. I'm loving Fuji because no matter what, if they feel like there's something that has been developed since they released their cameras, they just release a firmware and give it to us for nothing. Firmware update, new features. Hey, how you doing? All right, guys, so that's all I've got for you all today. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. And if you did, please leave those comments down there. Let me know if you've experienced any of the hypocrisy. When you first switched to mirrorless, did you get bagged on? by all the DSLR pro shooters. EVFs suck. Adapted lenses are the crap. Just go ahead and leave those comments down in the comment section below. Let me know. And I will see you guys again on the next one. Peace out, mirrorless shooters. You silly buggers.